Cam's Kitchen, Cam's Kitchen. Hi, welcome to Cam's Kitchen. Today we'll be preparing eggs a la cheese puffs. For today's recipe, you will need a handful of delicious cheese puffs, a pinch of salt, a tablespoon of butter, 2 eggs, a quarter cup of milk, a knife, a whisk, and a pan. First I'll prepare my eggs. So I'm going to crack 2 large eggs into a small bowl here. And then I'll whisk them. So the idea here when whisking is to try to combine the egg yolks and the egg whites. So sometimes I like to just kind of pulverize it and then start mixing it together here. Once you have kind of a good combination, I'm going to add my quarter cup of milk and a little pinch of salt. So pro tip, we don't add too much salt to our eggs because the cheese puffs will already have salt. So that should just be enough. And then I'll recombine. Next step is my favorite part, preparing the cheese puffs. So how I'm going to do this is I might just kind of layer the cheese puffs on top of each other. So I get a little cheese puff stack. And then I'm going to take my knife, being very careful here, not touching the bottom because this is very sharp. And I'm going to do something called the claw and saw, where I kind of make like a bird claw here. And I kind of pinch it like this. Now I'm going to do a rocking motion on the Cheetos. See, this is way I'm avoiding my fingers, but also cutting the Cheetos really nicely, getting them ready. If you have any Cheeto dust on your hands, that's perfect. We want to save that, so we'll just put that aside right there. Let me just do the last ones here. Remember, just make sure to rock it, we're not chopping it. Now that I have all my ingredients ready, it's time to heat up my pan. So I'm going to turn my heat on here to about medium. So after about a minute, you can start, by hovering your hand over the pan, you can sense that there's a little bit of heat coming off it. This is a good time to add your butter. So what we'll do is we'll just take our tablespoon of butter and we'll just add it directly to our pan. And as you'll see, it'll start melting almost instantaneously. Next, we want to get our eggs ready. You'll notice though sometimes what happens here is it'll start to separate a bit, so sometimes it's always good to give it just another whisk to make sure that both the egg yolk and the egg whites are combined. So we got our butter melting up really good, got some nice heat there, you can hear the crackle of the butter. So I'm just going to go ahead and add my eggs. Just pour them straight into the pan. So after about a minute, you'll notice that the eggs are starting to bubble. You can tell that they're heating up. Also a good indication as well is that it's starting to get a little bit opaque on the bottom. So right now is a great time to add our Cheetos. So I'll go ahead and do that. Oh yes, we want all the Cheetos and the Cheeto dust to get all that great rich flavor. Now what I'm going to start doing is starting to scramble the eggs. So how I do that is I'll take a spatula and I'll start just kind of turning the eggs over on themselves with the Cheetos. I wish you were here to smell it. It smells amazing. With scrambled eggs, generally when they're get to a certain point, they cook really fast. So it's good to be quite diligent here and make sure that you're turning them so they don't stay on one side for too long and get burnt. We are dealing with medium heat. Now, it's up to you when you want your eggs to be done. Some people like them to be a little bit more moist. Some people like them to be on the drier side. That's up to you. So it's personal preference. I think we're pretty much almost done here. So once I think they're done, I'm going to turn off my heat. It's always a good idea to turn off your heat. You don't want to leave elements on because you don't want to put your hand on there and burn it. So now I'm going to remove my pan from the element, take my spatula, transfer my eggs and cheese puffs onto my plate. As chefs like to do, and I like to do, we like to add some garnish. So we have some beautiful cheese dust here. So we'll just sprinkle that on top, get some nice textural elements. So it's not just one texture, get some crunch, even just some leftover Cheetos. And now for my favorite part of cooking, eating. Voila, eggs a la cheese puff. I wish you were here to taste it. Cam's Kitchen, Cam's Kitchen.